Yo, what's up, guys? So, today, we're starting a book club, and you're all invited. This book club happens to be the one, the only, Card College. So, Card College, it's my belief, well, it's more of a fact, it's a proven fact, that if you read the whole course, apply yourself to it, and really practice the techniques taught in there, you'll come out of it just a card expert. But I wouldn't really call myself a card expert, let's just be realistic, but there are some things in there in the whole series that, I've overlooked, and some things that I probably haven't even read. So let's just go through this journey together, and let's see how we'll come out of it. So if you're ready, if you want to take this journey with me and better your skills and understanding as a card magician, let's get started with Chapter 1, Volume 1. Alright, so we are literally starting with the absolute basics, alright? So this is the basics of the overhand shuffle. Now the overhand shuffle is so versatile, guys. You might have an idea, but really, if you think about it, the overhand shuffle is such an underused, powerful tool that I think you should be looking at more. So I'm sure you know it, but just for the sake of completeness, we will go over the basic technique of what the overhand shuffle is, alright? So all you're going to do is take the deck from the front and the back, alright? So your fingers are at the front and your thumb is in the back, alright? So you want to have your index finger more or less, right here on the side to steady the cards. And your other three fingers are just at the front like this. Now you take your thumb. What you're going to do is chop off a block of about, 10 or so cards like this, so they fall into your hand like this. Now the pressure is not a lot of pressure, it's just a very gentle touch like this. You just keep moving the hand up and down. Now it's not an up and down, straight up and down motion, it's more of a gentle arc like this, so it looks elegant like this as you're shuffling. Alright, so dips down, chop off the block, dips back up, and you arc. Keep repeating that until the cards are exhausted, and then at the end you can tap the side to square it up. So it's always a good idea to practice, just a regular overhand shuffle in order to get smooth at the secret things that you can do with it that we're about to go over. So practice that until you're smooth, and then that's the overhand shuffle. So one of the things that you can do with this overhand shuffle is controlling multiple or single cards, alright? So the basic thing you want to get down before we can go on to that is running cards, alright? So what I mean by that is just running single cards. Now, at the beginning, we said to chop off a block, about 10 or so cards, and keep chopping off blocks like this. But to run single cards, what you're going to do is just take your thumb, and instead of a block, you're going to run one card with your thumb like this. All right, so that goes on top of the deck at the middle of the back of the card like this, and that top card just slides off like this into your hand. So just practice the right amount of pressure that you need to do this, so you don't get more than one card. All right, so just keep doing that. Run the whole deck if you need to, just to get good at it. All right, so that's the first thing we're going to look at is running cards. Now, just to get you familiar with running cards and running just a normal shuffle, it's always a good idea to practice like this, alright? So run just a regular block, run a few singles, run a block, run some singles, run a block, singles, and just alternate like that, singles and blocks, so you're comfortable with it, and it becomes muscle memory. Because the thing is, guys, if you can do just a regular overhand shuffle smoothly like this, like there's no problem, and then all of a sudden you're like, doing this, going slow, looking at the deck like this, trying to count the cards or whatever, it's going to look weird. So you always want to make sure you're doing the secret thing as close as possible to the real thing, alright? So practice the overhand shuffle, practice doing the singles, practice alternating the singles and blocks until you're not having to think about it, alright? So you can do it just by, you're not looking at the deck, you're just talking and conversing with the spectators, alright? So here's how you control the top card, alright? So say you want to do an overhand shuffle, but you want to keep the top card where it is after the shuffle, alright? So let's say the top card is the 9 of clubs, alright? So what you're going to do is, remember, you run one card like this. All right, so you're gonna run a single, which is the top card. Now you just shuffle normally on top of that card that you just ran. So now it's the bottom card of the deck. Now you're just gonna start another overhand shuffle like this. And when you get to the end, you're just gonna start running singles, all right? So like this. Now the top card, which was on top originally, is on top again. And again, the way that works is because you're like this, I'll do it face up. You run that one card off to your hand, shuffle off normally like this, right? Now you do another overhand, you can see it's right there. Now you just shuffle normally again. And when you get towards the end, you just shuffle single card. You run cards, all right? So you run cards until you have that one card left, which is the original top card. Now, if you want to keep the original bottom card where it is, we'll do the 9 of clubs again. In this case, we're going to do what's known as a slip shuffle, all right? So what that is I've taught it before on this channel, but just for the sake of completeness for this book series, we'll teach it here, all right? So the bottom card stays where it is. It never moves, all right? So the way that works is you want to have your fingertips pressed up against that bottom card like this, all right? So all 3 fingers like this are pressed up against that bottom card. Now what you're going to do is start a normal overhand shuffle, but you're going to sort of squeeze the deck as that happens, all right? So start it normally with chopping off a block of about 10 cards. But what happens is, since you're applying the pressure to the bottom card, those fingers are going to keep that bottom card where it is as you do the shuffle, all right? So you can do this as many times as you want. This is exposed view, right? You pull up, those fingers keep that 9 of clubs where it is as you do the shuffle, all right? So that bottom card never moves, and it just looks like a normal shuffle, although you're doing a slip every time, all right? So that is the bottom card control, aka the slip shuffle. One of my favorite moves. All right, so now we're going to look at controlling a top stock, all right? So in other words, if you want to control the 4 aces in a shuffle, you can. All right, so the way this works is with the use of jogs, all right? So we've mastered the shuffle, we've mastered running cards, we've mastered the slip shuffle. Now here comes the jog, all right? So with a jog, you can control multiple cards or a top stock, all right? So even up to half the deck. All right, so what you're gonna do is chop off about half the deck like this, and you're going to run a single on top of those aces, but you're going to jog it toward yourself, in other words, an in jog, all right? So after the in jog, you want to run the rest of the cards normally on top of that, all right? So what happens now is that you have that in jog right above the aces in the middle of the deck right there, all right? So once again, you do this, chop off a block, run one card in jogging it towards yourself like this. You have that in jog. After that, just shuffle normally, and you have that in jog above the aces in the middle of the deck. Now what happens is you're going to take your thumb and you're going to move towards your hand like this, moving toward your palm, which allows that in jog to become separated from the aces, and that's going to just create a gap in the deck like this. So the aces are right here. Now what you're going to do is shuffle normally again until you get to that jog, all right? So you're just shuffling, and then you just stop whenever all the cards above that gap are gone, just like this. And after you did that, you just throw that block on top, which gives you the aces on top. Now do keep in mind, sometimes people can see stuff like jogs and gaps. So a good thing to keep in mind is just having the deck tilted at all times towards yourself like this. So it's about a 45-degree angle up like this. So this would be a normal position. Just tilt it just slightly so they can't really see in jogs, all right? So again, for that 4-card control, chop off about half. Now if you're right here and you do an in jog, they can't really see it. But if you're right here, they might be able to see that jog. But remember, keep it tilted. They can't see jack shit, homeboy. All right, so you're shuffling like this, and you have your jog, all right? So again, you come over, contact the jog, push over and up, which creates the gap, all right? So if you're right here, they can see that gap. If you're right here, they can't, all right? So always remember, keep it tilted. Now, again, this is exposed to you. I'm just teaching you right now, all right? So do another shuffle like this, and just shuffle off until you get to your gap or your break. All right, just like this, throw the balance on top after you've shuffled off into the break, and then you'll have your 4 cards safely home on top. Now let's look at controlling a bottom stock, all right? So we have our 4 aces on the bottom of the deck, and we would like to keep them there during an overhand shuffle. This is how you do it, all right? So again, you just start an overhand shuffle normally. Now when you have about maybe a fourth of the deck, what you're gonna do is run 1 card and throw that balance with about the fourth of the deck on top, all right? So this time you have your in jog about a fourth of the way down in the deck. Directly above that is your bottom stock of 4 aces. Now what you do is last time we pushed towards your hand, this time we push down, all right? So we're pushing away from the hand to create the gap. So in other words, we push down on the card and push up, which gives us that gap right here. Now at this point, you start the overhand shuffle again, but this time you just take the whole block, all right? So take the whole block like this, and then shuffle off normally, which gives you the aces on the bottom. So remember, you want to practice these moves until you can do them without thinking about them, right? So you never want to look at the deck when you're doing secret stuff, because that'll just give it away. And then that is how you do the overhand shuffle secret techniques in chapter 1. So here's a trick out of the overhand shuffle chapter, and it's spectator cuts to the aces, which is pretty nice. So anywhere you want to have the aces where you can access them is fine. In this case, I have them on the bottom of the deck, but you want to control them to the top of the deck, all right? So you can either have them on top and do any one of those fall shuffles to keep there, or what I do is I just have them all on bottom and I shuffle them to the top with that running technique, all right? So look, I want to have you try to find some cards, maybe some good cards. How about aces? And then you're just talking as you're shuffling, all right? So what I've done there is shuffle the deck and then ran the aces to the top. Now after that, you want to actually have 3 aces on the bottom of the deck and 1 on top, all right? So after that shuffle, you want to just run 3 cards to the bottom, all right? So after your initial shuffle, just act like you're doing a different shuffle, and then that'll get you 3 to the bottom, all right? So that's how you can just move cards around and then keep aces where you want them, just with overhand shuffles. And to the audience, I mean, it looks like a fair shuffle. Like, you can't possibly control cards after you've shuffled the deck like 3 times, all right? So now you're going to have them cut to the aces, or apparently. So this is what it looks like. So they cut the deck into 4 piles. And you want to keep track of where that top half is, all right? So this is the top half, which contains 1 ace on the top, and the last pile contains 3 aces, which are on the bottom, all right? So what you're going to do is make it appear as though all 4 aces came from the top of each package where they cut to, but this is what happens actually. So you spread through, like, we don't need all the cards, and in fact, all we need is the top cards of each pile, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So let's take a look at the cards that you cut to. In this case, we have an ace. What else do we have? We have, another ace, and another ace. Now here's how that works. So remember, on the original top half, you have 1 ace. On the original bottom half, you have 3 aces, all right? So what you're gonna do is pick up the original bottom half, the one that has the 3 aces on the bottom, and say, look, we don't need all the cards. We just need the top cards, the one that you cut to. And now as you do that, spread through, you sight count the bottom 3 cards. As you close up, you just keep a pinky break above those 3 cards, the 3 aces as you close up. Say, look, just take the top cards of each pile. So that's 1. Now all you're doing here is snapping that card off and putting it up jogged like this, which also hides the break. All right, so you do that. You just take up each card like this. So you're treating like a little fan with these cards here. Now what you're gonna do is square them up on top. All right, so put them flush. Now say, look, let's see what the first one is. Now all you're gonna do here, it's sort of a slip cut, all right? So you still have that break above those 3 aces. And now you're going to take your hand and pick up everything that's above the break in biddle grip as you revolve that top card, which is an ace, on the bottom packet. But at speed, it really looks like you take those 3 cards you've just shown away and turn over the top card of that packet, all right? So as soon as you do that, you put that packet on, say, ooh, an ace. How about this one? Oh, another ace. You cut to all 4 aces. Alright guys, so as always, I really hope that you learned something new, and I really hope that you enjoy this series as much as I know I'm going to enjoy doing it for you. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.